Yo, today we're gonna look at the main line in the Italian opening. Obviously the D4 lines. If you don't know what I mean, I'm gonna show you later. But basically, this line was for a long time considered, and it still is considered, to be an easy draw. So basically, if black pieces, the player with black pieces knows a couple moves of theory, he's gonna get an easy draw. But yesterday, I actually spent the whole day analyzing and I found some interesting ideas, and I don't think it's so easy to get a draw. So now let's look at the lines. First of all, let's reach the Italian position, bishop c4, and now black plays bishop to c5. This is the most common move, the best move, and the point is black is developing another piece and also preventing knight to g5 because the queen is now controlling the square. Now white plays c3, and the reason for this move is you just want to go d4. You can also castle here, that's totally fine, but after something like knight f6 attacking your pawn, you basically have to go d3. I guess you can also go knight c3, but let's say black castles, and now this position is just equal completely. So that's why we play c3 here, and we want to go d4. Now black plays knight to f6, and here we are at the crossroad between d4 and d3. If you castle here, black can just take the pawn, and you don't have anything. I mean, I guess you can get the pawn back with something like bishop d5. Black moves the knight back, you take this one and you take the pawn. Now the material is equal, but you just gave away your light squared bishop for basically nothing. So that's why d4 or d3. There is also b4, but b4 is similar to d3 because after the bishop moves, you have to defend the pawn, so you're gonna play d3. So this is the same as basically playing d3 here. But as I said, d3 is the boring Italian, as I like to call it, because you're just gonna get a bunch of maneuvering and the game is gonna go on for 200 moves. So that's why we play d4 here. And now the only move that makes sense is ed. And the reason is, if the bishop moves, you just take. You're just up a pawn. And black cannot take this one because of queen d5. You can also just castle if you don't remember queen d5. So because black was attacking this pawn. But queen d5 just wins a piece. You're threatening checkmate, you're threatening the knight. Bishop can take here with check, but you just move the king. And now black has to defend, let's say queen e7, you just take the knight. He moves the bishop back and you're just up a piece. So that's why black has to take. I mean, if they defend, wait, what happens? No, they cannot even defend, yeah, because the bishop is hanging. So yeah, ed only move that makes sense. So they take, and now cd. This is the line that I analyzed yesterday. Obviously, we're also gonna look at e5, which is the better option, but cd also has some interesting lines. So you take the pawn, and now this would be completely winning for white if it wasn't for this check. Because if black just moves the bishop back, then you can already start pushing the pawns, and you're just gonna get a dominant position. So that's why black has to go with bishop check. And now let's first look at, let me first tell you all of the moves that are possible in this position. So bishop blocks, knight b to d2 or knight c3. We're first gonna look at these two moves because these two are, in my opinion and from what I've analyzed, black can draw pretty easily. So let's first look at why is that. Obviously no other move makes sense. If you move this knight back, you actually hang both pawns because the knight is also pinned, so black can also take this one. Yeah, you can also hang the queen if you want. You can move the king, but obviously none of this makes sense. So let's first look at bishop block, bishop d2. Black has now two options. Obviously note that in all of these lines black has to know theory. If they don't, then again you're gonna get a better position. So if they don't know bishop takes or knight takes, they're gonna get a worse position. Now let's look at bishop takes, knight takes, and then they play d5. And the reason this is equalizing is now we have to take, this is basically forced. If you move the bishop back, it just doesn't make sense, you can just take. So we take, knight takes, and now here if you just castle, I guess you can get a playable position. You can argue that you have this center pawn, but black can also argue back that this is an isolated pawn, so you might lose it. And the position is kinda equal, so you can play this. There is a better move, however, which is queen b3, but the downside is that black has now a forced draw with knight a5. The problem here is your queen and the bishop are attacked. You can go queen check, queen a4 check, but black can just move back, and now you don't have anything better to do than to go back yourself. If you try anything else, so in this position, for example, I don't know, queen c2, black already has this check, and it's gonna get unpleasant because if you block with the knight, you lose the knight. If you block with the queen, they take, and they take the bishop. So I guess you can block with the bishop, but obviously this is gonna be unpleasant. And then you cannot even castle because the bishop is gonna hang, so yeah, that's why you're basically forced to go back. So black can force a draw. Also black can play on if they want. Black can play knight c to e7 and play on, and they're gonna play c6 and castle and so on. And again you have this isolated pawn as I said previously. Now let's go back and let's look at the second option, which is knight takes, because this pawn is just hanging. Now you have to take the bishop, knight takes, and this would be completely winning for black if it wasn't for bishop sack. So you sacrifice your bishop, king takes, you go check, so you fork the knight and the king moves, you take, but now black has this move. And this forces the queen trade, because if you castle, you lose the queen. If you move the queen, there is a discover check, a nasty discover check. For example, knight g3, picking up the rook. So that's why you have to trade. Black takes, you can castle, let's say they play rook e8, and you can see that this position is gonna be equal. So this is the problem with bishop d2. Now let's look at knight b to d2. Here again black has two options, both of them equalize. First one is d5, you again have to take. Nothing else makes sense. If you move back, black just takes, obviously. You take, knight takes, and now you castle. Black castles, and now something like a3. Now the bishop obviously has a lot of retreating squares. It can also take, but again, as in the bishop d2 line, the first one that I showed you, you can see that the position is pretty similar. You have this isolated pawn and the position is equal. Now let's also look at the, so knight b to d2. Now let's look at the second option, which is knight takes. And the point is obviously the knight is pinned, so you cannot take back. Here the best move is d5, attacking this knight. Knight moves back. Now you have to castle to unpin, but now black just trades, so takes, takes, takes. Here you do have an intermezzo, a pretty tricky move, d6. The point is you just want to damage black's pawn structure, and this is also in general a move that you should be looking for, because it just cripples the pawn structure, because black is probably gonna take, and now they have these double pawns. Now you recapture the bishop. Black goes d5. They can also castle, it's totally fine, but the best move is d5. You take. Now they do not take back. If they take back, they lose, because you can go check. Knight blocks, you take, and if queen takes, you can pin the queen. If they take with the queen, you have something like queen g5. King has to go back to e8 because it has to protect the queen, and now you can take here and so on. But black is not gonna take, black is just gonna castle, and you have the development advantage, but black has this extra pawn. So again, the position is equal. So that's why you can see that knight b to d2 and bishop d2, black has in both cases two choices to make a draw, or two lines that they can play. But the trickiest move is knight to c3, and the reason is black has to take this way. This is the only move that gives the advantage for black, but we're gonna see that black has to really work for this advantage. Because, for example, if they take first, you obviously take back, and then they take, again you have d5. And the problem with this with this configuration that black has, let's say knight moves back, and now you have this tricky move queen d4, and the point is you're attacking g7. Now the two most popular, actually the most popular move by far, is knight back to f6, and now you go bishop g5. So you want to completely damage the pawn structure. Now, two moves that most of the players play. I'm looking at the above 2000 player database on Lichess. So let's say above 1800 on chess.com. Most players go knight g6 or knight f5. Now let's look at what happens if knight g6. Here you're gonna castle long, and the point is your development is basically finished. You're gonna play rook h to e1, and look at the black pieces, they're all on the back rank, except the knights, which are totally misplaced, because look at this pin. Now the most popular move by far is castle short. Looks like a logical move, but now you already start attacking with h4. Let's say h6 to kick out your bishop, h5. You just go all in. Now most players go back, knight h8, because If they take the bishop, you take their knight and the file opens up. So you're gonna attack pretty quickly. So they go back, but now you can just take. And the point is, they take back, you have rook h3, rook lift, and it's all over. Because you can also reroute the bishop, you can also later on bring the knight in, bring this rook in, and the point is, black is just lacking in development. So the line might go something like d6, rook check, they have to block, you sacrifice obviously. I mean, you do get 2 pieces for the rook. Let's say knight g6, because if they move, you already have some bishop check. Knight g6 has to block, you take, and you can see that this is just losing. So this is an example of knight g6. Now let's look at also the knight f5 line. Here you play queen f4, attacking this knight and still maintaining this pin. Most players go d6. The point is they are defending the knight. But now you go g4 and you're attacking the knight, and now where does this knight go? Well, it doesn't have many squares, so that's why most players go, I mean, it can go back, but then you can take. Most players go h6, and now here there is a forcing line. You take, black takes, you take the knight, they give this check, looks like it's a fork, but you can just go king e2. They castle, looks like it's all over. You just play rook c1. The point is, the rook is defended by the queen now. The rook also defends the bishop, so everything is basically defended. And if this check, you just move and you hide and you're up a piece. Now, obviously, black might blunder even sooner, but this is just so you get an idea of the positions. By the way, these were like the most popular moves, so it's not like this is never gonna happen. So now let's go back. So that's why this move is not possible. I mean, there are a lot of other options here. For example, if black just castles, they don't get in trouble so quickly, but you can see that you obviously have this superior center, so you're probably gonna be in the game. Let me just show you what happens if they castle. You go e5. Now some players strike back with d5. Some even move the knight back. Let's say d5. You almost never take the knight here, except when black isn't castled. So for example, if king was here, rook was here, then you would probably take. But if black is castled, usually you move the bishop to b5. Here you move it to d3. And the reason is you just want to pressure this pawn. Now you go. Now they go probably knight d4. 90% of them go knight d4. You just play queen c2. The reason is you want to take the knight. Let's say they play two most popular moves, f5 or bishop f5. Let's say f5. You do not take en passant because then you just open his attack. But you just go with short castles. And the position, yes, he has a knight here, but one of your ideas is gonna be to play f3 and just chase the knight away, and then this pawn is gonna be weak, and also you're gonna place your bishop on a3, pressure this rook. Also you have the great possibility of attacking on the king side. You can move the king, move the rook, and attack. These are all of your plans, and again, black is lacking in development. I guess he can attack you on the queen side, but I think white has a better chance of winning here. And actually also the computer prefers white in this position. Yeah, now let's go back. So I was just trying to make the point that black has to take here. There are a lot of other moves, but the only one that is a real attempt is black takes. And most players will take, over 75% know that they have to take here. And now the sort of the main line is castles. And then black takes with the bishop, you take back, and black just has a comfortable position. But you play queen b3, not the most preferred move by engine. Engine wants you to castle, but this is a really tricky move. Let me show you why. First of all, black is gonna either castle or take, doesn't matter because the positions are gonna transpose into one each other. So for example, bishop takes, you take, and then they castle, you're gonna castle, and now almost everyone play knight a5. This is still the best move, and the point is they are just attacking your queen and the bishop. It looks like it's totally over, but you have this move, bishop takes, because the knights are forkable. Now obviously rook is gonna take, you're gonna go queen d5, you're forking the knights. Now most players still play knight takes c3, which is the best move. If they do anything else, let's say c6, you're already equal after you take the knight. So the point is they have to grab another pawn. So they take, attack your queen, you obviously take this knight, and now they go check, you go king h1, and here we're at the crossroads. So this is 14 moves. And here most players blunder, over 70% blunder with knight takes c1. The best move is d6, and it's the only move that preserves the advantage for black. Now why is knight takes c1 a blunder? Because knight g5, you're attacking the rook, and you can see that if you check, king moves, there is gonna be a fork. So a rook has to move. Now where does the rook move? Well, it doesn't really matter because you're gonna play queen check followed by knight f7. So for example, rook moves back. The knight is obviously defended by the queen as well. This is an important detail. You go check, king has to move, you go fork, and black has to sacrifice the exchange, and this knight is also gonna get trapped. Actually, the most popular move is knight d3, and this is a puzzle. What is the move here? It's actually, there are two moves that are equally good. So congrats if you found it. It's rook, either rook to e1. And the point is, queen moves, this is mate. If queen doesn't move, if knight takes, doesn't matter, you just take back, and this is the threat again. So black has to make a luft and lose the queen. So this is this line. If anyone was wondering, what if this move and then you give a check and then the king moves to the other side? Well, now you have this fork. So this move is the reason that white is better in this position. Now let's look at d5. D5 is not as good as d6, but it's still a good attempt. You play bishop g5. Now queen has to move. The two played moves in this position are queen d6, which is the most popular by far. Now you just go, obviously you have to notice that black is still up a pawn, but we're gonna get some compensation for it. You go with queen to d2, black has to play knight f4 to save the knight. And now you go knight e5. You cut the connection between the queen and the knight, and you attack the rook. And again, black is gonna be losing. Now let's go back. There is also some players that played queen f8. Now this is a better move, but still you go with knight e5. The point is you're attacking the rook. Now notice that the rook cannot take here, because you just take back. If queen takes, you go check, and who's gonna stop the checkmate? If king moves, obviously mate, queen blocks, you take, and if they go here, mate in one, because knight, bishop and queen. So that's why they have to go something like, I guess, rook f5. There is one game where player just sacrificed the exchange, but let's say rook f5, you just take this pawn with check, king moves, obviously they cannot block because the knight is there, and now you play something like f4, just anchoring in your bishop. Notice that they cannot go h6 because there is a fork, so you're just completely winning here. Now let's go back. So this is the d5 line. We looked at bishop takes and, knight takes and d5. There is also one tricky line. Obviously all of the others, I'm not covering all of them because there are like a ton of moves here. But the most challenging one that you can also face is rook sacrifices itself on f3. Now this is a positional sacrifice. This is a pretty common pattern. The point is they are damaging your pawn structure and they want to attack you. Mainly this idea is the one that they're gonna adopt. Here there are again a lot of moves. Let's say we're gonna look at the two most popular, which is queen f6. This one you go queen check. Now the king has to move. They can also go into an endgame, for example, if they block with the queen. But let's look at first what happens if king moves. You go rook e1, and now we have a problem. There is a back rank threat, so basically knight is pinned to the checkmate. Like the knight cannot move because it would be checkmate. So you're most likely just gonna win a piece here. For example, c6, you can just take, because takes mate. So this is probably what's gonna happen if king moves. Now let's look at the other line, which is queen blocks, you take, queen takes, and now we play d5. And based on the material, you are up 1 point because you have the rook for knight and 1 pawn, but your structure is damaged. And this endgame is pretty tricky, so let me show you how you're supposed to play it. Black is most likely gonna go b6. The point is they want to place the bishop on this long diagonal. You defend the pawn, they go bishop b7, and now we play this move rook d3. So this is the maneuver that you can keep in mind. Now again, I don't want you to memorize all of this. I just want you to see the ideas that are also applicable in other positions. So for example, if you have two weak pawns like that, you can see that this idea is good, the one that you can play. So rook d3, just monitoring both pawns. Now let's say they go and activate the rook. you develop the bishop because you also want to make this rook useful. They go, let's say, rook e5, attacking your pawn, you defend. Let's say they try, I don't know, rook f5, attacking the other pawn, now the king can defend. So you can see that you have to defend before they make a threat. So you can clearly see that this is gonna be their next move. So you defend before they even make this move, because there is, like, why would they play, let's say, bishop a6? They're obviously gonna play bishop b7 to put the pressure on the pawn. So it's kind of like preventing the threats before black even makes them. So yeah, this is basically the end game that you're gonna get. Now let's go back. So this was the rook sacrifice. We also have to look at knight takes, because we looked at queen f6, and now let's look at knight takes. This is the equivalent in the popularity with queen f6. Here you go bishop b2, and the point is you're just gonna play rook g1 and attack the king. So for example, knight e6, defending, you go rook g1, putting pressure on the pawn. Let's say something like c6. They want to exchange the queens, but now notice that the knight is overloaded, so we can just take. And if the knight takes, they lose the queen, so they have to move the king, and then you can take, or probably even better is just to not trade queens and play something like queen e5 and just attack the weak king. So yeah, this is now the rook sacrifice line. But now let's look at why this line is considered not to be playable, because of d6. But I don't think many players are gonna know theory past this move, so I guess they can know d6, but now bishop g5. And here in the database there are 15 games, 15, and only 2 of those games players found queen e8, which is the only move. So that's why I'm saying that this line is completely playable. So it's not a forced draw. There are, I think, more winning chances for white. So now let's look at the most popular move, which is queen f8. Queen f8. Here you're gonna play rook, just rook attacks the knight. And now here you might be saying again, black has this sacrifice, but you have a nice move, queen d5. The point is, you're attacking the rook, you're attacking the king. Most likely the rook is gonna go back and you just take this knight. Now black is still up a pawn, but black is completely tied up. So once they're gonna move this bishop, you're gonna recapture this pawn on b7 and the material is gonna be equal. And if they somehow try to prevent you from doing that, let's say they play c6, you still maintain the eyes on the pawn. Also this rook is pinned, so you have ideas like rook e7, but let's say they play, I don't know, rook b8 to reinforce this pawn. Now you can already play bishop e7. The point is rook cannot take because it's pinned, and the queen is basically out of squares. You double up and you're threatening a discovery. So where is the queen gonna go? If they go here, you can still take because this pin, so you're threatening checkmate. If takes, mate. Queen blocks, they lose the queen obviously. So that's why I think most likely players are gonna play knight f4. So just move back the knight. Now you trade. This is simple. And here you play this move rook e3. The point is now you want to reinforce the knight because again this sacrifice, but obviously you also have this move. Let's say, by the way, this position was never reached before, so that's why I'm saying, like, people just don't know the theory, so you're not gonna be losing. But let's say the game continues something like bishop g4. You go queen check, so you pick up the pawn back. Let's say you attack the rook. I guess the rook moves. I'm just playing the most natural moves. Now you play something like rook c1, attacking the pawn. Let's say bishop takes, rook takes, rook takes, and then pawn takes. They can go into this endgame, let's say take, something like that, and you can see that this position, if they know 25 or more moves of theory, they're gonna get an equal endgame. Now, so that's why I think there is almost no chance that players are gonna know this much theory. So we looked at queen f8 in this position. So this is knight check. We looked at so king moves. We looked at this move. We looked at rook takes. We looked at d5, and now we're at the d6 lines. And we looked at so bishop g5. We looked at queen f8. Now there have also been 2 games with queen d7, and here again you attack the knight. The knight is most likely gonna move. Let's say knight. There is again this sacrifice, but let's say knight f4. I'm not gonna show you all of the lines because the video is gonna take 1 hour. But obviously, let's say rook takes the bishop. You go queen d5 check. Let's say king moves, because obviously block you can take. You play something like rook e3. So again the point is you want to double up, and you're already again preventing this sacrifice. Let's say they play, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, this game is just gonna end in a draw. You can probably see it. You're just gonna double up. The pieces are misplaced. So for example, I don't know, move the queen somewhere. You can see that you're gonna double up, and this check is gonna be a problem. And also the knight is coming in, and you can see that you have enough compensation. Now let's look at queen e8. This is the best move by the engine. There has only been 1 master game, and on Lichess there have been 2 games in this position. If somehow your opponent knows this, then it's not even over yet, because you're gonna play queen d2. Now here, again, this sacrifice is an option, but more likely they're gonna play b6 to open up this bishop. And now you play the other rook from a to e1. And the point, obviously, of this move as well, b6, is that they want to defend the knight, because the knight now has no squares. So they are forced to play this move. Wait, let me see if no games in the database. So this position has never been reached before. But let's assume your opponent knows 20 moves of theory. Let's assume that. Now you want to put the pressure on the knight because it's pinned, so you go knight g1. Now they have to find h6. The point is, the bishop so the bishop is basically trapped, or if it moves, so let's say bishop moves back, they're gonna go g5. Now the bishop moves back again, and now they can take with check and save the piece that way. And you cannot prevent it if you go back. Now the pin is no longer there, so they can just take. So there is nothing else to do than to sacrifice. They take back, you take the knight, and now they again have to find this move rook d7, rook e7. The point is the knight is pinned. Now you have to sacrifice the exchange, but it's not so clear. Obviously bishop takes. If they take here, you just take back. So bishop takes this one, you recapture. And now the best engine move is something like queen b6, attacking the rook. You move the king, defending. Let's say they double up. And now we play this move d5. And the point is the knight is gonna get in. The queen is also gonna be opened up. So in my opinion, this position is far from equal. I mean, far from being better for black. The evaluation is something like -1. So for example, I don't know, there are also a lot of forks possible. If, for example, if they play in this position here, there is already a fork. Let's say they play rook e5, attacking the pawn. So the knight is now unable to move because they're gonna take. But now just play something like, I don't know, queen c1 or this move, I don't know. The point is you're attacking the pawn. Let's say they play, I don't know, rook somewhere. Because you already have some threats of knight there and then checkmate and so on. Actually not checkmate because the king can move, but you get the point. You're just gonna get in. And this knight is really tricky and you're gonna anchor it with d5. So, also, let's say rook e4, which I think is a more natural move. You kick out the rook goes back, you play something like knight d5, this is the best move, attacking the rook again. Let's say the rook attacks the queen moves, let's say queen d3, you have some threats. You also have this threat. You can see that the position, actually here it's already better for white. Let's say queen f7, you can take even, because take. So the point I'm trying to make, I don't want you to memorize these 30 moves of theory. The point is, I just want to show you that this line is far from being completely drawable. Black has to know more than 25 moves of theory, and it's still tricky. That's what I'm trying to say. So let's just go over it again quickly. This move, they're gonna take, you play queen b3. Most likely they're gonna take or castle. Let's say they castle, it doesn't matter. You castle, they take, you take. Now they play knight a5. This is by far the most popular move. You sack the bishop, they take, you go here, fork, have to take here, otherwise you just, let's say c6, you take. Anything else, they move the knight back, you take, and the material is equal. The point is they have to get this extra pawn. You take the knight, they go check, over 90% go check. You move the king. Now this line, remember knight g5 with the idea of queen check and then the fork. D5 we also looked at. Again, you play this move bishop g5. We also looked at rook sack, where you take and you get the end game. So rook sack, take. Let's say queen f6 we looked at, you go with check. We also looked at this move, where you go bishop b2 and attack like that. And there is also the main move, the main line d6. Now we play this move bishop g5 and 15 games in the database. Most players go queen f6, I mean queen f8, and now here you play rook to e1. And then again there is this move, but we obviously looked at check, rook moves back, you take this one, you keep the pressure on b7. Most likely they're gonna go back, you exchange, and then you go with rook e3. Yeah, that's the move. So just preventing this sacrifice, and the line goes on. I'm not gonna show you the full line again. So this was the CD line. In the next video we're gonna look at the even better move intermezzo e5. And yeah, that's all that I had to say today. Thank you guys for watching and see you next time.